We've got a bombshell to kick things off today. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has just dropped fresh details on Apple's first foldable iPhone, and honestly, this thing's shaping up to be one of the most exciting iPhone refreshes we've had in a long time. According to Gurman, Apple's foldable won't just be about the display, it's going to feature 4 cameras, one on the front, one inside, and a dual system on the back. That's pretty much the norm for foldables, but what's interesting is that Apple's bringing back Touch ID as the main biometrics option, built right into the power button just like the latest iPad Air mini and entry-level iPads. Face ID, nowhere to be found. Now you may ask, why not add a simple 2D face unlock like Android phones? Well, Apple loves to flex how privacy is at the core of the iPhone, and if it's not secure enough for Face ID standards, they're not going to do it. So yeah, expect Touch ID only, and honestly, I'm fine with that. On top of that, Gurman says the foldable iPhone is going to run on Apple's second generation C2 modem with no physical SIM card slots. Apple's currently testing black and white finishes, so similar to the iPhone X, it's only going to come in 2 colors, and the design itself is said to be a book style. Unfold it and you get a larger inner display, reportedly around 7.8 inches, paired with a 5.5-inch outer screen. For comparison, Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 7 has an 8-inch inner display and a 6.5-inch outer one, so this definitely will be more compact. Both Gurman and analyst Min-Chiu Kuo also believe that Apple's using laser-drilled metal plates and a switch from on-cell to in-cell display tech to finally solve the biggest pain point with foldables, the ugly crease. If Apple really delivers a crease-free foldable, that alone could be enough to outshine Samsung. Though, to be fair, the Z Fold 8, next year's Samsung foldable, is rumoured to have a crease-free display as well. By the way, Gurman's confident about the timeline. He says Apple is targeting a launch next year, and that lines up with what we're hearing elsewhere, and it makes today's other big report even more exciting, because just as these leaks about cameras, Touch ID and displays are heating up, we've got news from Korea's ET News that production of foldable OLED panels for Apple's first foldable iPhone has already begun. That's right, this isn't just some secret prototype locked away in Cupertino, actual components are rolling off production lines as we speak. The supplier? None other than the enemy, Samsung Display. Yes, the same Samsung that's been making foldables for years. They're building a dedicated production line at the A3 factory in Asan, South Korea, just for Apple's foldable iPhone panels. The production line's apparently in its final stage and will have the capacity to pump out 15 million 7-inch foldable panels per year. That's a massive commitment, and while Apple reportedly plans to only build 6 to 8 million units in 2026, Samsung's gearing up for more in future years. And if that sounds familiar, it's because that's exactly what happened with OLED when Apple first introduced it with the iPhone X. Samsung was the exclusive supplier back then as well, and now they're taking that same lead when it comes to foldables. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means Apple's serious about foldables. They're not just testing panels, they're scaling production, and while Apple does usually like to diversify suppliers, Samsung's been doing this since 2019 and has the foldable tech game on lock. So for now, Samsung's the sole supplier of the display panels, and honestly I wouldn't be surprised if they hold that position for the next couple of years. Quick break, if you're enjoying this deep dive and want to stay on top of all the latest Apple leaks, hit that subscribe button. I've got more breakdowns like this coming every week, so don't miss out. Now things are starting to line up for the iPhone Folds. The ever-reliable Min-Chiu Kuo says full-scale assembly is going to begin in late Q3 or early Q4 2025, meaning around September or October. Foxconn's reportedly already preparing assembly lines. Add that to Samsung Display's panel production kicking off now, and yeah, this thing is very much happening. The foldable iPhone isn't a pipe dream anymore, it's very much in production. Are these timelines realistic? In my opinion, yes. Kuo's track record is solid, and the fact that display production is already in motion adds even more credibility. That said, he did hedge slightly, calling everything subject to change, classic Kuo move just to save himself. But between Samsung's involvement, Foxconn ramping up and supply chain whispers getting louder, all signs point towards an autumn 2026 launch alongside the iPhone 18 series. Now let's talk about the specs. Both displays are going to be LTPO panels with ProMotion, so buttery smooth 120Hz refresh rates and power efficiency baked in. The inner display's resolution is expected to be 2713 by 1920, while the cover display comes in at 2088 by 1422. Both are a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is ideal for productivity, reading, and even watching content in tablet mode. When unfolded, Apple's foldable iPhone will measure just 4.5mm. That's thinner than the iPad Pro, which is wild. Folded, it'll be around 9 to 9.5mm. This is technically thicker than the recently announced Z Fold 7, but only by a smidge. Apple's using a titanium alloy chassis and a liquid metal hinge. Yes, liquid metal. That's not sci-fi, by the way. It's patented and Apple's been testing it behind closed doors. Why liquid metal? It's durable, resists, and keeps its strength after thousands of folds. Paired with titanium and stainless steel, this hinge won't just be strong, it's going to be smart. Apple's patents describe internal flaps that reduce stress on the display, heating elements to prevent issues in cold weather, and a proprietary hinge that evenly distributes pressure across the fold. So yeah, Apple's playing the long game. They've seen Android foldables crack, crease, and snap under pressure, sometimes literally. With their brand reputation, one viral video of a hinge failing could tank this product. Remember the iPhone 6 bend test videos? They're making sure that doesn't happen again. Back to the foldable, software is going to be key. Don't expect iOS stretched across a larger display. Apple's likely going to give us iPadOS instead. That means proper multitasking, floating windows, split view, and all the productivity tools you expect from an iPad on a device that folds into your pocket. That's pretty awesome and will make this very appealing to power users who want to multitask on the go. Battery life, as always with foldables, is a concern, but Apple might have a solution. They're reportedly using a 16nm display driver down from the current 28nm, which will drastically improve efficiency. Combine that with Apple's A20 Pro chipset and their usual tight software integration, and we might see decent battery life despite the compact form factor. Also in the mix, a dual cell battery setup, similar to what Samsung does. This helps balance power delivery across both halves of the device and improves heat dissipation. Apple's all about efficiency, so this approach makes sense. No exact million power numbers yet, but don't count them out. We could be surprised when it comes to endurance. Now let's address the elephant in the room, price. Rumors suggest this thing could be at least $2,000, maybe as high as $2,500. That's double Pro Max, so who is this for? Well, it's clearly not for your average iPhone user. This is a Halo product made for Apple's most loyal fans, early adopters, and tech enthusiasts who want the absolute cutting edge. Apple's reportedly planning to produce around 6 to 8 million units in 2026. Remember, Samsung's facility can crank out up to 15 million panels per year, so Apple's keeping it limited, testing the waters before going all in. They're playing it smart, and even if the foldable iPhone doesn't hit mainstream volumes right away, it does offer something unique: the ability to replace your iPhone and your iPad with one device. For creators, mobile gamers, and professionals on the go, that's a big deal, and it sets the stage for more. Foldable iPads and MacBooks are rumored to be in development. The iPhone is clearly just the beginning, and if the hinge works, if the crease disappears, and if the software delivers, expect Apple to scale this up to larger screens in the years ahead. So the big question is, would you buy one? Would you drop $2,000 on Apple's first foldable? Let me know in the comments. For me, if Apple nails this, if the hardware's stunning, if the software's fluid, and the experience is smooth, I could see this being the first foldable that goes mainstream, and as someone who's been fascinated by the form factor since the original folds, I'm very much looking forward to foldables becoming more popular, since that will accelerate innovation and maturity for this product category, and hopefully also bring down the price. Because let's face it, Apple wasn't the first with smartphones or tablets or even smartwatches, but they did perfect those categories. If they do the same here, the foldable iPhone could absolutely dominate this space by 2027. That said, I'll be honest, Apple's been over-promising lately. Just look at Apple Intelligence. Remember when Siri was supposed to be life-changing? We're a year out from that announcement and still waiting. So yeah, I'm a little skeptical. What if this doesn't solve any of the issues Android users have already experienced? If Apple promises to change the game, they better deliver. No half-baked software, no visible creases, no hinge issues. We've seen what happens when things don't live up to the hype. Anyway, thanks for watching, like the video if you enjoyed the breakdown, subscribe for more deep dives like this, and I'll catch you in the next one.